Welcome back. And so the economy took center stage in the Federal Capital Territory yesterday, where we're beginning from. The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has raised the alarm over the persistent economic sabotage, which has undermined investor confidence in the petroleum sector, declaring that the Senate must identify and hold those accountable for the criminal acts. Senator Akpabio made the declaration during the inauguration of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee to investigate alleged sabotage in the sector. At the inauguration, the Senate President stated that it is not merely an investigation, but a rescue mission for the nation's future.
The shadow of economic sabotage looms large, threatening to destabilize this critical industry, and by extension, our nation's financial stability. These acts of sabotage could cripple our economy and hinder our progress for generations to come. It did not start in the administration of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but it has led us to where we are today. Identify the perpetrators where you can, their methods and modus operandi, their networks, and then report same to the Nigerian Senate for further legislative action.
And in the lower legislative chamber, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, is asking the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, to guarantee that premium motor spirit imported into the country is rigorously tested in laboratories to meet the standard sulfur and octane levels. The Deputy Speaker stated this in his opening address at the inaugural meeting of the House of Representatives Joint Midstream and Downstream Committee investigating challenging developments in the downstream midstream sector.
I wanted to shed more light in respect of the presidential request.
And in the meantime, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Senator Heineken Lukobere, has held a meeting with leaders from Dangote, NMDPRA, NUPRC, and the NNPCL to resolve issues surrounding the Dangote refinery. The meeting was attended by Mr. Aliko Dangote, Chairman and CEO of the Dangote Group, Mr. Farouk Ahmed, Authority Chief Executive of the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that's the NMDPRA, and Mr. Gbenga Komolafe, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, and Mr. Mele Kyari, Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL. Now, the discussions focused on finding sustainable solutions to the refinery's challenges, with all parties committed to proactive problem solving. During that meeting, the minister also emphasized the importance of cooperation to ensure the oil and gas sector's success for Nigeria's economic growth and energy security. At the end of this first meeting, all the participants described it as a good one, but declined to comment further on the resolutions. Now, away from petroleum matters now, Governor Obasani of Kaduna State has raised concerns over the high rate of out-of-school children, poverty and insecurity in the north, which he blames on long years of neglect by past administrations and leaders of the region. The governor raised the concerns during a meeting with the National Executive Committee of the Arewa Consultative Forum at the Government House in Kaduna. He disclosed that the north is facing an existential threat as a result of insecurity and other socioeconomic challenges, and stresses the need for all leaders from the region to come together to pull it back rather than indulging in blame game.
Rural areas stand in great need of attention and transformation, given the growing scourge of multidimensional poverty and violent crimes ravaging the north. Dedicated and well-funded oral development programs such as yours have the potential to greatly mitigate the endemic insecurity and banditry going on across the country.
Northern Nigeria faces existential threats as we are speaking. This is therefore a time for all hands to be on deck to pull the region back from the brink. It is a time when our people must close ranks, fashioned a Marshall Plan for the North and moved decisively to change these negative developmental indices. I can speak because I'm one of the governors, and I know how much support we have received from current government. The narrative that President Tinubu is against the North is false, absurd, and unbecoming. It is the handwork of elements who are experts at political manipulation.
More on security concerns. Nobel laureate Professor Soyinka has described the kidnap of the 276 schoolgirls in Borno State in 2014 as one of the defining moments in the nation's history. He was speaking in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, during a civic reception organized in his honor, marking his 90th birthday celebration by a committee of friends. He took a swipe at the leadership, the negligence and response of the federal government at the time, saying that the incident was a systemic failure of the nation's humanity.
Most of the crimes committed, in the most gory manner in this nation right now are committed by us, the citizens, against ourselves. Whether you're talking about killing for fetishes reasons, whether you're talking about the crimes of religious fundamentalism, you're talking about banditry, kidnapping, for ransom. In other words, reinstating this horrendous past of our history, which is slavery. I see no difference between slavery by other people and kidnapping, whether adults or children or ourselves. For me, this is enslavement. The only difference is that we now gather all of you together like this under compulsory education, making it easy for a bunch of people to come in. And we know that these crimes are not simply because of poverty, impoverishment. No, some of those behind these crimes are very, very wealthy. Look at those who've been caught and taken to court, tried in court. They live in huge mansions, but they want more. So it's not even a question of, inequality in society, neglect. No. Very often, we are our own worst enemies. And I felt it was about time that our own society is confronted by true image of itself. It had been building up for years, while I was doing other things. But luckily, I was able to save some time and say, let me show us just what we have become and stop deceiving ourselves that the enemy is outside. The real enemy very often is within.
Away from security concerns now, while it appears some groups are preparing for the planned nationwide protest against bad governance, other groups are beginning to pull out of the event. The planned protest, which has gone viral on social media, has generated some conversation in the government circles, with some appealing to citizens to give the incumbent government more time to allow its policies come to fruition. However, speaking in separate news conferences in Abuja, members of the Northern Nigeria Youth Forum and the Miyetti Allah Kautal Hore Social-Cultural Association dissociated themselves from the planned protest. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, is asking President Bola Tinubu to invite the leadership of the planned protest movement for discussions on their grievances. A statement signed by the NLC president, Mr. Joe Ajaero, notes that Nigerians have reasons to be angry, especially with the country's economic situation. According to him, all that the citizens are demanding from the government is a listening ear and an empathetic heart to their plight. The statement highlights rising inflation, unemployment, increase in electricity tariff, and the general spike in the cost of living as the reasons people are angry. The statement concludes with an appeal to the government to tread the path of dialogue rather than the path of pride. To politics now, the back and forth between the Martin Amewule-led River State House of Assembly and Governor Siminalayi Fubara keeps popping up, which appears to have no end in sight. The latest is the issue of the continued stay in office of the caretaker committee chairman, with the assembly members denouncing them and asking the police to arrest them for impersonation. This happened at plenary on Monday, during which the governor was accused of inciting anarchy by refusing to obey the Supreme Court judgment. And outside our shores, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris makes her first public appearance since President Joe Biden left the 2024 race on Sunday. She praises Biden, saying she is deeply grateful for his service to our nation. More leading Democrats are backing Harris as the party's new presidential nominee, as her campaign sees a surge in donations. And former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, says her support for Harris is official, personal, and political. Biden had faced weeks of increasing calls to step aside, but he'll stay on as president for the rest of the term. But Donald Trump has echoed other Republicans, saying if he can't run for office, he can't run our country. Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, also makes his first solo appearance on the campaign trail with a speech in Ohio. And back home, with 3 days to the 2024 Paris Olympics, the Minister of Sports Development, Senator John Owaneno, is assuring athletes representing the country that the federal government will always celebrate the achievements of the nation's sporting heroes. He was speaking in Abuja at the signing ceremony of a memorandum of understanding for the Dream Team project, dedicated to celebrating the success of the Atlanta '96 Olympic gold-winning football team. Senator Eno highlighted the importance of recognizing Nigeria's greatest glory in world football. Quite a lineup of major stories.